The morning sun filtered through the blinds, casting a warm, golden hue across my room. I stirred, feeling the weight of exhaustion pressing against my eyelids. Something wasn't right. My stomach churned and twisted, an unfamiliar ache signaling that today wouldn't be a normal school day. I mustered the strength to sit up, the sheets tangling around my legs as I swung them over the side of the bed. The floor felt cold beneath my feet, and my head was spinning uncontrollably. As I stood, I paused for a moment, swaying unsteadily. The thought of facing a day at school seemed impossible. With a heavy sigh, I trudged downstairs, my steps dragging like lead. In the kitchen, I found my mother preparing breakfast. I mustered the strength to tell her I didn't feel well. She looked concerned but understanding, telling me I could stay home for the day before she left for work. I considered a slice of dry toast, but my queasy stomach protested even the thought of food. As my mother's car backed out of the driveway, I retreated back to my bedroom. I settled back onto my bed, wrapping myself in a cozy blanket. The TV played in the background, its murmur of voices providing a dull comfort. I tried to lose myself in the screen, hoping to forget the discomfort coursing through me. Minutes turned to hours, the day outside drifting into a muted gray. I was cocooned in the quiet of the house, the only sound my own shallow breaths and the faint whisper of the TV. It was then that I heard it, a slight bang that jolted my senses. I couldn't discern its origins, whether it came from inside or outside. My ears strained, desperately trying to capture any other sounds. At first, there was nothing but silence. But just as I began to relax back in, I began to hear faint creaking from below, like footsteps on the wooden floors. My heart quickened, beating a frantic rhythm in my chest. My eyes darted around the room, searching for some logical explanation. Maybe it was just the house settling, but the unease in my gut told me otherwise. I tiptoed to the edge of the staircase, peering down into the emptiness below. The air seemed colder there, carrying an unfamiliar tension. My fingers gripped the banister, knuckles turning white as I summoned the courage to descend. Each step felt like an eternity. The sounds grew clearer, more deliberate, like deliberate footsteps echoing through the silence. Panic surged through me, urging me to turn back, to retreat to the safety of my room. But something held me captive, an inexplicable need to uncover the truth. The lower floor greeted me with an unseen presence. I moved cautiously, my breath hitching at every unfamiliar sound. The living room stood empty, the curtains drawn tight against the outside light. I dared to peek into the kitchen, my heart pounding in my ears. Nothing. The rooms were as still as a photograph, frozen in time. Then, a muffled thud echoed through the house, distant yet unmistakable. It was coming from the direction of my mother's bedroom. Dread gripped me, threatening to pull me under, but my feet moved of their own accord. As I approached my mother's room, my heart began to pound uncontrollably, my breath caught in my throat. What I saw next would give me nightmares for years to come. Standing in my mother's room was a towering figure. His silhouette was tall and broad. The details of his face were obscured, but his eyes were visible, gleaming with an unsettling intensity, and staring directly into mine. Time seemed to stretch and warp around us. The weight of the moment pressed down on me like an oppressive force. My pulse thundered in my ears, drowning out even the faintest whisper of a sound. We stood there, eyes locked, a battle of wills that seemed to span an eternity. Then, with deliberate purpose, he took a step forward, the floorboards groaning beneath his weight. A scream tore from my lips, an instinctual response to the encroaching danger. I raced back upstairs, fear gripping me. The belief that he was coming for me clung to my thoughts like a suffocating shroud. In one fluid motion, I hurtled through the threshold of my bedroom doorway, the momentum carrying me forward. Behind me, the door slammed shut with a resounding bang, sealing off the unknown presence that lurked on the other side of it. Panic surged through me, urging me to find shelter, to hide from the unseen threat that had breached the sanctity of my home. My eyes darted around the room, searching for a place of refuge, a stronghold to weather the storm of terror. Without hesitation, I lunged towards the closet, fingers fumbling to grasp the handle. The door swung open, revealing a narrow, confined space. In my haste, I squeezed myself inside, the scent of familiar clothes and shoes enveloping me. I shut the door and the darkness swallowed me whole, the confines of the closet providing a false sense of safety. I heard a thud, then another. I pressed my back against the closet wall, willing my breaths to steady. The seconds stretched into an agonizing crawl, time slowing as I waited, every nerve on edge. And then, nothing, only complete silence. I sat, motionless, straining with all my might to catch hold of any sound. But there was only silence. Minutes felt like hours, the silence oppressive, broken only by the steady rhythm of my breaths. The tension was unbearable, a suffocating weight on my chest. And then, just as quickly as the sounds had faded, they returned. Disbelief washed over me. I had thought the intruder had left. I could hear the footsteps approaching, ascending the stairs. As the footsteps drew closer, a terrifying thought pierced straight through my heart. In my haste to make for the closet, I had forgotten to lock the bedroom door. I pressed my trembling hands against the fabric of my clothes, a futile attempt to silence the involuntary tremors that had taken hold of me. Then, the creak of my bedroom door sent fresh waves of terror coursing through me. Tears welled in my eyes, but I bit my lip to stifle any sound. Footsteps drew nearer, each one echoing like a death knell. The sounds of movement and activity reached a fever pitch, filling the air with a chaotic symphony. It was a haunting contrast to the oppressive silence that had reigned just moments before. My heart raced, pounding against my ribs like a desperate plea for escape. I could hardly believe it. My tormentor was still present, refusing to yield to the passage of time. I was frozen, a statue of fear, my senses heightened to a painful intensity. The footsteps drew nearer, each one a menacing cadence that seemed to reverberate through the room. I pressed myself further into the closet, willing the darkness to swallow me whole. Then, with agonizing slowness, the doorknob turned, the door inching open. My breath caught in my throat, my eyes squeezed shut in a desperate bid for invisibility. It was the moment of truth. As the door swung open, a shaft of light pierced the darkness, illuminating the cramped confines of my hiding place. It was my mother, her face etched with concern and relief. She had come home early from work, her presence a beacon of salvation in the midst of my terror. She rushed towards me, her arms enveloping me in a tight embrace. I could feel her heart beating against my own, a reassuring rhythm that anchored me to reality. She asked what was wrong, her voice a soothing balm against the chaos that had unfolded. I recounted the harrowing encounter, each word a tremor in the stillness. Her grip on me tightened, a silent promise of protection and reassurance. With unwavering resolve, she reached for her phone, dialing the numbers to report the intrusion. The police were on their way, determined to unravel the mystery of the man in the shadows. An investigation ensued, casting its net wide, but the intruder proved as elusive as smoke in the wind, leaving behind no trace, no clue to unravel the mystery. It was as if he had never truly been there, a phantom slipping through the fingers of those who sought him. With each passing day, the initial shock and fear began to ebb, replaced by a lingering unease. Our home, once a sanctuary, bore the weight of that day's terror in its very foundation. Every creak and whisper seemed to carry an echo of that chilling presence. Yet, amidst the shadows of fear, there emerged a beacon of strength. My mother's love shone brightly, a steadfast pillar of support and protection. Her determination to keep us safe was unwavering, a testament to the fierce resilience of a mother's heart. Thanks for tuning in to another episode from the Alley of Nightmares. If you enjoyed the video, please like it, subscribe, and share with all your friends. Until next time,